You're listening to the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSG Network with your host, Marc Henry.
The middle of the season is upon us in H-Town, Texas football. It's about to get cracking. District play is going down right in the Houston area. We're going to talk about several games and a big game out west in the Katy district. Katy takes on Jordan, two rivals. We'll talk about that and more right here on the Third Coast Gridiron. I'm your host, Marc Henry, on the LSG Network, the authority for high school football. Man, we're going to talk about that big matchup, break it down for you, who to watch, and who we think may have the advantage in this monumental contest out in Katy. We'll take a small break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about a few scores from last week, and then we'll get right down to the nitty-gritty. Jordan versus Katy, right here on the TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron, on the Lone Star Gridiron Network. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to take your game to the next level? Whether you're an athlete, coach, or just someone striving for more success in life, the Winner's Workshop is your secret weapon. Yes, this award-winning course has transformed thousands of lives, teaching the game-changing principles of sports psychology that Fortune 500 companies, coaches, and top performers all use to win. The Winner's Workshop, subtitled How Sports Psychology Can Make You a Champion, is now available on CoachTube for a fraction of the original $499 price. The Winner's Workshop will help you master focus, mindset, and breakthroughs to make you a champion. Click on the link in the show notes or head over to LoneStarGridiron.com and click on the ad today to unlock your full potential.
We're back. Let's hop into a few scores from the previous week. Cypress Ranch gets by Waller 38-21. North Shore keeps it rolling. That Goose Creek 70-0. Wisdom falls to Bel Air 38-12. Jesuit squeaks by Ailey Velsick 28-26. Katy takes care of business over Taylor 45-10. The Woodlands blanks Cleveland 70-0. Listen, the Woodlands had a tough loss early, but they got by that. And I think that they're going to be a playoff team for sure. They got the loss to Willis earlier a couple of weeks ago, and they continue to get stronger as the season progresses. MacArthur over Aldine 35-0. Hastings over Taylor 28-27 in a close one. Shout out to Hastings for getting the big victory. Oh, in Beaumont, man. Beaumont Westbrook gets by Baytown Sterling 26-9. Conroe over Grand Oaks 31-14. They are undefeated. Shout out to Conroe. Big time win over there. Cypress Fairbanks over Houston Memorial 34-16. Cy Ridge over Cypress Creek 31-17. Cy Woods. Listen. These guys are a team to watch. A big one over Cy Lakes, who have been, one of the better teams over there in that area. But they get by them 21-14. Summer Creek rolls over T King 53-7, setting up a big matchup next week. We can't wait to see that one. Definitely will have to make an appearance. The Third Coast will be in their house for that. We'll talk about that on next week. But Summer Creek is strong. Tompkins gets by Morton Ranch 42-17. Klein over Magnolia West 42-20. Klein Collins rolls over Tomball Memorial in a high scoring contest 48-41. Collins is a team to watch coming out of that district. We thought Memorial might be strong too. So battles for those second, third, and fourth spots in that district are going to be tough. I think that, we got some teams over there that can definitely play. You got Collins, Klein Oak, of course, Klein Kane. All of those schools over there have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs. A couple of more scores. Westfield over Nimitz, 42-15. And I really think that, Westfield's a team, they had a tough one against, who hasn't had taken a loss to North Shore. That's a big thing, man. And I think those guys have rebounded from that and played well. And Dawson got by Pasadena, South Houston, 56-7. We're going to take a small break. We're going to come back and talk about a couple matchups this week in the H right here on the TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron. I am your host, Marc Henry. We'll be right back.
Hey, coaches, you may have already missed the boat on getting your own coaches show this season on Lone Star Gridiron, but did you know we're doing basketball shows this year? That's right. If you're a basketball coach and you want your own coaches show, we have a great business model that allows you or your booster club to make money from the show and at the same time promote your program, your kids, and all the amazing things happening with your basketball team. To find out how you can get your very own basketball coaches show, reach out to Chris at 713-269-4620.
Man, we're at the midweek of the season, man. A couple of key matchups in the district play that going around the H, especially, out in that Fort Bend area. Fulshear has a big one. They take on Strake Jesuits. Fulshear 7-0. They rank number 11 in the state. They're a very good team, and they've been playing well. That's the reason they're 7-0. I always like Fort Bend Ridge Point. Austin Carlisle has those guys playing well. Avery Marco, one of the best linemen in the state, up front for those guys. They are good. They had a tough loss earlier in the year, but they are peaking. The big matchup coming up north in the Conroe-Willis area is Conroe and Willis. Willis is 7-0, and so is Conroe. This is a big matchup. Both teams come in ready to win, man. Conroe 6-0, and Willis is 6-0. Conroe's got one of the best backs in the state. He's an SMU commit, and he's a talented runner in Jermichael Green. 6 foot, 190 pounds. He can run by you. He can run through you or over you. He's got big playability, and he's a guy that's been heavily recruited, but he is committed to SMU. Christian Nunley, 6 foot, 385 pounds, is one of the best quarterbacks that a lot of people don't talk about. He's a gamer. He's a guy that can get it done with his feet or his legs. On the other side of the ball, they got one of the best cornerbacks in the country, and Dorian Brew, who's committed to Oregon. Mark Jones is one of the best safeties in the area. He's got several colleges after him. And Xavier Harmon is a big-time cornerback. He can also play some safety. 6'2", 180 pounds. Braylon Mills as well. But listen, Christian Nunley and Jermichael Green on the offensive side get these guys going. They're going to have a tough matchup with the Willis Wildcats, who come in undefeated. We talked about them against the Woodlands earlier in the year. Of course, they've been one of the better teams in the area, in the H, in the last couple of years. But Jermaine Bishop Jr. is one of the best playmakers, both sides of the football in the state. Jalen Mickens, the Louisiana Tech commit, is an electric player as well. Mason Isabel is a guy that can play on the offense or defensive line. Romel Stevens, big 6'5" receiver, is a guy that you need to know who's been getting some looks as well at the collegiate level. This is a loaded team. Robinson, the running back, and Lawrence the third are two guys that'll talk the rock for Willis as well. This is a big game. Definitely what we're having our eye on this one. Two teams coming in. Probably a de facto district title on the line. I mean, this is a big game. We talked about this. It's a couple big games out here this week in the H, man. And, going around, man, I think that, before we get to the big one, that's one that, everybody in the H should have their eyes on, man. I think that, Willis is one of those teams that you definitely want to keep an eye on. And Conroe's an upstart. They've been on the cusp for the last couple of years and just haven't been kicked down the door. But I think this is their time. This is their time, man. I mean, if they're going to get Willis, they better get ready, man. It's a good matchup of two teams that are looking to be district champs over there, and I really like what I see from both teams. But I'm especially intrigued by Conroe to see how they continue to ball out. And they're one of those teams that's hot right now, and they can make a run at state if they can get past Willis, get a good seeding in the playoffs. We're at the time of the year time of the season where teams start to shape out and shape up when it comes to that. But let's talk about the big matchup of the weekend. Jordan goes up against the Big Red Machine and the Katy Tigers. Now, Jordan's been a playoff team last year. They had got a playoff win last year, and they were, the last 3 or 4 years, they were the upstart, wanting to knock off Katy, but they just couldn't close the deal. They really, really, really have a chance this year. They are undefeated at 7-0. Katy's only one loss was to Atascocita in week 2. This is the district championship. Katy's won it 14 of the last 15 seasons. This is a very tough program, not just a team, but the program to beat. The last time Katy lost was in 2020 to Katy Tompkins, who led by Alabama quarterback now, Jalen Milroe. That was the last loss that they had. But let's talk about Jordan first. Everything wide receiver Andrew Marsh, who's committed to Michigan, is averaging 133 yards of all-purpose yards on the ground, through the air. He's got 9 TDs. He's going to be a focal point. Right now, the Warriors are one of those teams that are hot. Offensively, they got some guys that can go get it. Total-wise in the last 3 or 4 games, 457 yards, 490 yards, and 430 total yards of offense. The last 3 games, they've really been putting up some points. And this is the reason that I think they have a shot to do it. They also have one of the top running backs in the state in Florida commit Chad Gasper. He's one of the top backs in the state. He can do it through the air, out of the backfield, but he's that ground pound mismatch that you have coming out of the backfield. He can get north quickly. He's a guy that can break long runs, and he's got power between the tackles. He's one of those guys that they're going to have to account for. And we know that, Katy's one of those teams, they don't really give up a lot. This is the time that maybe, just maybe, they can catch Katy slipping. This is the year. I think they're close to doing it. Katy hasn't lost since 2020, and that's a very long time. Like we said, 14 of the last 15 seasons, they've been district champs. But we're going to see. Jeremiah Smith's a guy on the defensive side that's been getting it done. 6 foot, 210 pounds, physical linebacker in that 3-4 defense that they like to play. Tremaine Hill's been that guy that totes the rock. Katy always has a ball carrier that can get it done. And Gunnar Nelson at QB is just consistent. He's that guy that can get it done. But, I really think that this is going to be a close game. I expect some fireworks. I expect it to be some points put up in this game as well. So that's one of the games that we'll be looking at, man. Definitely be looking at. We're gonna before we get out of here, we're gonna shout out HISD real quick, man. Lamar takes on Heights. This will be the battle for the district title in that 19-6A division. It's usually between these two teams every year. Both teams come in undefeated, so this will be the de facto district title game. Lamar has played a tough schedule coming out, and that's their 3 losses, but they've been hot since they got into the district, man. But they have been district champs in the last 13 or 14 seasons. The last people to knock them off was definitely Heights, who took them down in 2020. But, this is a team in Heights, shout out to Heights. It's been playing well. The Bulldogs, have beat their 2 district opponents, which was Chavez and Wisdom, by a score of 107-6. Zaylen Comer is one of the best playmakers in the area. He's right up under 100 yards of all-purpose offense a game. So, but Lamar's had these guys numbered the last couple of years. They're 9-1 against Heights in the last 10 games that they played. This is going to be a close one. I expect it to be some fireworks in this one because it's such a rivalry. And Heights has always played the little brother. They play with a chip on their shoulder. They've been a playoff team as well. So, this is a game. This is a game that you might want to look at as far as HISD goes. Shout out to HISD. We got to show them love right here on the Third Coast. That's what we do. But we will be having our eyes on these games, man. A couple more games, Stratford and Cy-Fair. This is probably a 17-6A district championship matchup. The Woodlands and College Park, they're going to be, in 13-6A. They'll be looking for second or third and fighting this one out. Davis against Nimitz, that's going to be a great game for 14-6A supremacy right there. Davis has been one of those teams that's been playing well in the H, man. And another game that's got some seeding implications with it is, we talked about Klein Collins earlier. They take on Magnolia. Magnolia's 3-1 in the 15-6A district, and Klein Collins is 3-2 So these are two games that, a few more games, two teams that you need to watch. And let's show HISD a little bit more love. 4A Division I matchup. The Worthing Colts are undefeated at 7-0, and they are looking to go back as district title or repeating as district champs against Fur, who's undefeated 5-1. This will be a big game. So we always got to show HISD some love. Around the state, the HISDs, these inner city ISDs don't get the love that they need to get, and we're going to always throw them some love. We're going to always show them some love right here on the TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron. But that's all we got for you this week. We appreciate everybody that's been tuning in and listening. I will always be running it up right here in the H, man, the Third Coast Gridiron right here on the LSG Network. You can follow us on Twitter at Third Gridiron. At Third Gridiron. You can follow me on Twitter at Marc Henry 44, man. Also check out OnTheMarkSports.com, man, for the latest in high school football around the state. We'll holler at you next week. We're out.
Are you ready to take your game to the next level? Whether you're an athlete, coach, or just someone striving for more success in life, the Winner's Workshop is your secret weapon. Yes, this award-winning course has transformed thousands of lives, teaching the game-changing principles of sports psychology that Fortune 500 companies, coaches, and top performers all use to win. The Winner's Workshop, subtitled How Sports Psychology Can Make You a Champion, is now available on CoachTube for a fraction of the original $499 price. The Winner's Workshop will help you master focus, mindset, and breakthroughs to make you a champion. Click on the link in the show notes or head over to LoneStarGridiron.com and click on the ad today to unlock your full potential.